honored to have the opportunity to have this conversation. I'm running for governor of Georgia again, because 4 years ago, when we had this conversation, we were facing challenges. Those challenges have exacerbated, and the outcomes, unfortunately, have not improved. This is a state where we're number 48 in mental health services access. We're number 1 for maternal mortality. This is a state where we're number 2 in the uninsured, where we've had 6 hospitals shut down under this governor. In the state of Georgia, our teachers and the starting salary make less than teachers in the state of Mississippi. Affordability of our housing is going up, but access to funding is going down. And for communities of color, the opportunity to run a small business may not have been stronger, but our opportunity to close the economic gap could not be further away. Under the current governor, it will take 100 years to close the gap between majority and minority business ownership in terms of their revenue generation. We don't have that kind of time in Georgia. We don't have the time to let another hospital shut down. We don't have time to let our children spend years in schools without being fully funded and without having teachers who want to be in the classroom. We don't have time to wait for the solutions that are right in front of us. And in 37 days, we do have time to make a different choice. We have a chance to change the future. Governor, I want to get us back to the basics. Education, healthcare, housing, and the ability to make a good living whether you work for yourself or someone else. In education, I want to make certain that we fully fund our education from cradle to career. That means fully funding pre-K in the state of Georgia, not having a waiting list anymore. It means creating access to affordable child care for families so they're not paying a college tuition for a 2-year-old. It's making sure that we are paying our teachers a starting salary of $50,000 in the state of Georgia. And raising wages for every educator by $11,000, not a $5,000 raise on way away. It is about making sure that when you graduate from our high schools, you have access to more than 20,000 apprenticeships so you can earn while you learn. That you can go to technical college for free again in the state of Georgia. It was free until 2011. It should be free again in the state of Georgia. And I will make it done. And it's our responsibility to expand access to hope in the state of Georgia. We are one of only 2 states in the nation that does not provide need-based aid. So a middle-class family with a child who's going to college, you better hope that you have a B average, because otherwise the state of Georgia does not have opportunities for you to have help. I know that there's some good C students and they should be able to see their way to college. But we also have to make certain that we have access to health care in the state of Georgia. Here in Duluth, we know that there are a lot of good hospitals. I passed one on the way in, but the reality is Georgia only has 5 level 1 trauma centers in the entire state. 2 that serve the metro Atlanta region, meaning half of the population of the state of Georgia. 1 in Augusta, 1 in Savannah, and 1 down in Macon. And when the Atlanta Medical Center shuts down after 120 years, 120 years, this hospital survived, but it couldn't survive 4 years of Brian Kemp. We have to have access to a level 1 trauma center, because if there is an accident in Dade County or Franklin County or Fannin County or Gwinnett County, and if Brady is on diversion like it is almost every single day, the next closest hospital is down in Macon, Georgia. We can't afford to lose lives because people get stuck on I-75 trying to head south. This is a solvable problem. It was solvable when the first 5 hospitals shut down. It is solvable now, and it only takes 2 words: Medicaid expansion. That's what it takes. Medicaid expansion is not simply insurance for the poor, although working families deserve it. And when we say poor in Georgia, we're talking about people who are working full-time jobs making $9 an hour. And under this governor, they're considered too wealthy for health insurance. $9 an hour, and you're not allowed to have access to health insurance because he won't expand Medicaid. But it's also a public financing system for health care. It is a system Georgia relies on, and we are refusing money that we've already paid into. Raise your hand if you pay federal taxes. Then you've already paid for Medicaid expansion. And it's about time we bring our money home to the state of Georgia. Part of doing so is expanding access to mental health care in the state of Georgia. Right now, the number one provider of mental health services is not our hospitals, it's law enforcement. It's not their training, it's not their capacity, and it should not be their job. But until we expand Medicaid in Georgia, we will not have the resources to let our law enforcement focus on dangerous people, not sick people. But it will take a new governor to get that done. Education, healthcare, housing. You all understand that we have an affordable housing crisis in the state of Georgia. No matter where you live, from Duluth to Dahlonega down to Dougherty County, everyone is talking about the challenges of housing in Georgia. Right now, the RIP in the state of Georgia, in the Metro Atlanta area, the average median rent is $1,596. That's almost 40% of most people's income. And what we know is that the current governor has done woefully little to address the challenge. In fact, when he received hundreds of millions of dollars to deploy to keep people in their houses and in their apartments, he refused to spend the money. A 60% rejection rate in the middle of COVID, when families were simply asking for help to stay under their roofs while they got back on their feet. He has taken billions of dollars, millions of dollars given to the hotel industry, but not enough given to the people of Georgia. But it takes a governor who understands that we've got an inventory issue, an affordability issue, we've got a gentrification issue, and we've got a homelessness issue. But the issue I take is, I have an issue with a governor who will not spend the money in Georgia on the people of Georgia, and that's why someone else needs to have this job. And what we're here to talk about this afternoon is being able to make a good living. Because we know that if you want better education, if you want access to health care, if you want the best housing possible, where you live and what you do matters. But we know that everyone in Georgia, regardless of your demography or geography, we want the ability to take care of ourselves and our families. The ability to make a good living whether you work for yourself or someone else. I am the only candidate with a plan to invest in our small businesses. We've got a governor right now who is perfectly happy going big game hunting. He likes to announce big companies coming to Georgia. Well, I'm here to tell you that 99% of the businesses in Georgia are small businesses. 43% of the jobs are created by those small businesses. And yet, name the program he's put in place to help lift up and invest in our small businesses. I'll wait. I have a plan to create a $10 million small business investment fund because I know that too many of our small businesses get through the SBA process, but that doesn't guarantee you a check because a bank doesn't have to loan you the money. But the state of Georgia should. We know during COVID, PPP was given out to several businesses, but most small businesses in Georgia never got a chance. Now, mind you, the governor got it and got it forgiven, but most Georgia businesses, too many businesses of color, were left out and left behind. My mission is to make certain that we not only have access to capital for those small businesses so you can start your business, grow your business, meet your business needs, but I also want to make certain that these small businesses get a real fair shot at contracting in the state of Georgia. Billions of dollars will be spent over the next 4 years. And every small business with the capacity to compete should have the right to compete. But you shouldn't have to know the secret handshake or the special door knock to get access to a contract in the state of Georgia. And recently it was pointed out to the governor that we have a disproportionate disparity in the number of small businesses and the number of businesses of color that get access to the contracts. He said he's going to study the issue. Well, he can cheat off of my paper. I can tell you the answer. In the state of Georgia, we need a governor who believes that diversity in contracting is our responsibility and makes certain that the Department of Administrative Services is purchasing from across the state and from across communities. We have to stop the prime and subcontracting, the kind of process that allowed the current governor to give a $700 million contract, no bid contract, to one of his campaign donors. Well, too many of our small businesses are bidding on contracts and being rejected because they can't meet bonding requirements. We can break those contracts into smaller pieces, and we can do right by our businesses in the state of Georgia. If you're from the Metro Atlanta area, you'll understand what I mean when I say this. My mission is to be the Maynard Jackson for the state of Georgia when it comes to building wealth for our people. But we can only do this if we do this work together. If we are willing to invest together and stand together. Making certain that those who work for others are making a real living wage. That we no longer market Georgia as a state that you can come to and pay low wages to our workers. Instead, we're going to demand a fair and living wage for every worker in the state of Georgia, because if you're willing to work, we should work with you. But we need new leadership to make it so. We've had 20 years of being told there's not enough. 20 years of being told we can't have more. But as of today, we've got $6.6 billion in surplus. That's after we paid every bill, put 15% aside in our rainy day fund. Look, the good Lord only requires 10%. Georgia does 15%. A budget that accounts for natural growth still leaves us with $6.6 billion. I've just told you what I would do with just a portion of those dollars. When I say we should do these things, the current governor said, oh no, we can't afford it. And he's not telling the truth. I've had economists look at my plan and verify that we can do this work. But we have to believe that people in Georgia deserve the investment. Because he's going to do what he's always done, which is handouts to the wealthy, kickbacks to himself, and nothing for the rest of us. And my mission is to change the narrative and change the story by changing the governor. So thanks for being here, and let's get it done.